When playing a new JRPG, sometimes there are details that might go under the radar and you might not notice them at first, and in Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake, it's the personality system. So I'm here to explain to you what that actually means and how it's useful to you while playing through the game. Before we continue, a massive thank you to Square Enix for gifting me a copy of Dragon Quest III so I can bring you videos like this. I've already made a video review of it, which, spoilers, I love it, but you can check that out over here as well. Just like any JRPG, your stat line for each of your characters is going to be very important in DQ3, and as you can see above me, each of the characters that you have access to is going to have access to different stats. So if you're using a character that's heavy on magic, like a sage or a priest, etc., then you're going to want their wisdom to be high as well as their max MP. Whereas if you're using a physical attacker, like a thief or a warrior, then you'll want their strength and agility to be higher. Personalities are what affect those stats, so if you can line up your character's vocations with the personality that fits them best in terms of stat growth, it's going to help you massively in the long run. This is taken from Dragon Quest Wiki and is in relation to the original Dragon Quest III, but as far as I can tell, all of this will match up correctly with DQ3 HD-2D as well. And as you can see, this can really make or break a character. What you want to look at here is the far right number, which is the total stat distribution that you're going to get. So for example, with the Gourmand personality, while you might get a little bit of extra strength and resilience, your wisdom and your speed stats are going to drop so far that you actually get less than half of what you should normally get from your stat growth. Whereas something like the Bat Out of Hell personality will give you 100% on 4 out of your 5 stats, but your agility grows by 140%, making it a net gain. So judging by the table that we see here, the best personality you can ask for really is the Vamp personality, which gives you a little bit of a stat buff on all 5 stats, adding up to a total of a plus 70% net gain. However, not every personality trait is available for every character. You need to be discerning with the body types of your characters in order to access the correct ones. For example, the Lucky Devil archetype is specific to body type A, where the aforementioned Vamp personality is limited to body type B, so keep that in mind when filling out your party. And don't worry too much if you're not happy with your party, all it takes is a quick trip to Aliahan and Patty's Party Planning Place for you to change your characters up. Try saying that quickly 3 times. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to swap out your party. There are loads of items in the game that you can use to instantly transform the personality of your characters. So for example, the Saddest Story Ever Told is a book item that you can acquire that changes your character's personality to a crybaby type. And going off the table here, that wouldn't be the worst choice if I wanted to give it to a mage style character. Though if we can, we want to use the Genius archetype instead, because that gives me even more wisdom when leveling up. Unfortunately, we have one of those in the Eureka moment, so my suggestion would be to make sure you check bookshelves in any town that you enter or any area that has them to try and get extra items for you to change your personalities around. So now by using this, my Pierre, my Sage, is now a Genius. If you don't want to use an item to permanently change your personality, you can actually equip accessories that do it temporarily. So for example, the gold chain that I have here transforms the wearer into a charmer for as long as I'm wearing it, while also increasing their luck stat. If you're not sure which personality traits to target, having ones that are heavily focused with the stats that line up with your vocations is the best way to go. Namely, Bat Out of Hell for agility, Wit for wisdom, Lucky Devil for luck, which is restricted to body type A, Paragon for strength, and Tough Cookie for resilience. Or, if you're lazy like me, just aim for personalities that have generally good stat growth, like Vamp, again body type B only, Vamp Daredevil, or again Wit, Lucky Devil, and Bat Out of Hell. And by visiting the All Trades Abbey, you get to this pretty early on in the game. You can actually change the vocations of your characters as long as they're above level 20, and doing this is actually more beneficial than you might think. By changing your character's vocation, you actually only lose half the stats that you had to begin with to go back down to level 1 as that job, and you can go back to the same job multiple times in order to keep resetting your level to 1. Which means in the late game, your stats can get pretty out of hand if you're willing to grind long enough to keep resetting your level down just for stat gains. I mentioned the Sage vocation earlier, and that's a mainstay in my team because it's quite so powerful. It kind of serves like a red mage from Final Fantasy, but better, well, a Sage from Final Fantasy basically, which uses offensive and defensive healing curatives in their kit. It's just really good, but you can only access it in specific ways. Either you have to level a Gadabout up to level 20 and turn them into a Sage, and Gadabout is terrible. I used that method to get to Sage and it was painful doing it. Or you can obtain the Words of Wisdom item, of which there are very few in the game. So really, once you've got to a certain point in the game, leveling a Gadabout to level 20 is probably going to be the easier choice just because it doesn't take very long to do it. And that's why in my review I said not to start with a Gadabout. You can always change into one later and then level it super quickly to get your Sages. Ultimately, this means that through a combination of your personality traits and swapping in your vocations in and out, you can get your characters pretty strong pretty fast. Hopefully this video is useful to you, because I know I was very confused by the personality system back when I played Dragon Quest 3 years ago, and it's very confusing to a newcomer now, so hopefully this gives you some direction to go in. How are you finding Dragon Quest 3 HD-2D? I absolutely adore the game, and it's actually in my top 5 games of the year, but let me know in the comments below what you think of it, and if you have any other questions to ask, I'd love to make more content about this game, so if there's anything you want to know, just drop me a comment, and if you're not sure what to say, just type the word algorithm, because it's massively helpful to me as a content creator. And with that, I shall love you and leave you. Thank you very much. If you've enjoyed this content, then leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and if you'd like to support me further, then you can come and find me on all of my other social platforms like Twitch, TikTok, which has massively blown up recently and is a little bit scary, or on Discord as well, all linked down below, or you can come and find my Etsy store where I sell handmade prints of art that I've done, or my Patreon channel. Thank you ever so much, and I'll see you next time. Take care.